Yo, 2019 free agency this whole month is about to go down in history as the greatest offseason in NBA history. It is 1 a.m. right now as I'm recording this video. You know, I'm laying in bed trying to catch up on Stranger Things, and Woj drops the biggest Woj bomb ever. And I mean bigger than when KD signed last week. This is... Listen, I had to come to the workroom and record the reaction. If you do not know, Kawhi Leonard just signed to the LA Clippers, which is dope, right? He had three options. We knew the three options. It was the both teams in LA. Either he team up with LeBron and Anthony Davis with the Lakers. He can go to the Clippers, or he can stay in Toronto, run it back. Well, he signed with the Clippers, which I'm like, okay, we finally got Kawhi's decision. Free agency been on for 6 days, and we finally got Kawhi's decision. But 2 minutes later, we find out that Paul George, yes, MVP G13, top 3 MVP candidate this year, Clap God, also got traded to the Clippers. That had to be the most out of left field thing I have seen in a long time. But here we are, and I'm still catching up on updates. Shams just tweeted, rival NBA teams have been aware of the discontent of OKC's 2 stars, Paul George and Russell Westbrook. This is insane. You know, run it back one more time. What did they say after Paul George re-signed? I thought that was a huge W for OKC because, you know, they traded for him. He had 1 year left on his contract. And the whole world thought no matter what happens, he's going to sign with the Lakers next season. But then he signed that extension. Now, the way it works, at least, is what Woj is reporting. Kawhi had been talking to Paul George for a minute, like, bro, we got to team up in LA, but we can't do the thing that Anthony Davis and LeBron are doing. We need our own little team. And you know who got that cap space? The Clippers. So let's work out a situation. So they on the phone, they talking, and Paul George walking to the office of OKC. I'm requesting a trade, and don't trade me nowhere but the Clippers. The Clippers just got the Finals MVP, who was the best player on a championship team. 2 times now. And a guy that was a top 3 MVP candidate this year to sign in a single season. I mean, not to sign, because they did give up a lot for Paul George. I'm going to try to keep this as level-headed as possible. But again, these are my initial reactions, so I may be getting a little pumped and I may get a little ahead of myself. Because the trade getting rid of Paul George was extensive. They gave up my boy Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Y'all know I've been a day one homie since basically the first day I saw him in Summer League last year. I was like, oh, that guy's going to be good. And guess what? He was very good. He was a starting point guard of a playoff team. They traded him to OKC along with Gallinari and 4. Let me double check that. But I think I read 4 unprotected first round picks. The Clippers are sending the Thunder 4 unprotected first round picks, 1 protected first round pick, and 2 pick swaps. Also with Gallinari and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now listen, again, I'm going to keep it as level-headed as possible. Of course, the Clippers just got so much better. They just signed 2 top 10 players in the league. They got 2 top 10 players in the league on their team now. But OKC did a very good job. If Paul George really walked into that office and said, trade me to the Clippers and nowhere else, they did a pretty good job in return. 4 first-round picks that are unprotected, which means that if somebody get hurt, knocking on wood, somebody gets hurt and the Clippers don't make the playoffs, boom, that's a lottery pick, 1 of those 4 years. And then 1 protected one, and then 2 pick swaps, which means that if the Clippers end up with a better pick than OKC, they'd be like, no, that's our pick now. You get our bad pick. Simple. And they also get a young guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and then Gallinari just had his career year. So if Paul George really walked into the office and said, trade me to the Clippers and nowhere else, I think they got a good return. But this does set them back. I mean, obviously, they just lost an MVP candidate. But it's just insane how the NBA works. I promise you next offseason will not be this intense. There's not that many free agents, at least great free agents out there. We ain't going to have a Kevin Durant signings, a Kawhi Leonard signings. Please be, what's the word I'm looking for? Be grateful that you're here and you're experiencing the landscape of the NBA is shifting so much. Listen, if I was an LA fan or I was living in LA first, I'd be scared because these earthquakes. I'm in Chicago and I'm afraid for the whole the whole state of California the way the earthquakes are going. But if you're a fan of whatever team in LA, you should be happy. No matter what team is playing at the Staples Center on a given night, you're gonna get star power. We just saw two top 5, top 6 players in the league right now, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis team up for the Lakers, and the world's like, man, that's a GG. The Lakers, you might as well give them the rings. And then the Clippers just respond like, no, hold on, fam. It ain't really gonna be that sweet because you still gotta prove that you're the best team in LA before you get a ring. Now, obviously, the Lakers got a lot to do. This is not about the Lakers, but they still only got 3 players on the roster. Who lost the most on this is the Lakers because they were holding out. You know how many free agents signed in the last 6 days because the Lakers were chilling on their cap space, hoping, praying that Kawhi Leonard was going to come to them, and now that Kawhi Leonard didn't come to them, they got to settle for, like, let's bring back Kentavious. Let's maybe sign Jabari Parker. Like, their options are very, very limited if they're trying to put together a complete team. But complete teams, listen to this lineup right now. I'm thinking we can go Pat Bamf. We can go Landry Shamet. Paul George. Kawhi can run the 4. Come on, man. And Zubac or Harrell. I'm guessing Harrell's going to still be coming off the bench. Whoever center they want to put there. And then you still got Lou Will. 6th man of the year multiple times. The Clippers just look incredible, but they did give up a huge package to make this happen. But none of that, I always say this, whenever a team overpays for a player on a trade or on a contract, none of that matters if you win. And this team, I don't know the Vegas odds because, again, it just happened 10 minutes ago, but I promise you the Vegas odds are going to be in the favor of the Clippers to be probably a top 3 team in the league this year. And that makes a lot of sense. They just put together a perfect or near perfect team. So the next question is, what does this really mean for OKC? You know, again, when they made the trade for Paul George, the whole world thought he was going to sign to the Lakers and it was a stupid deal. But then he resigned. And I was like, yes, that's +1 for the small market teams. You got a star player to stay. Somebody that you didn't even draft. You traded for a star player and he signed an extension. Congratulations. And just after 1 season, he wanted out. This OKC team we're going back to what Russell Westbrook was in this MVP season. You know, it's going to be him. It's going to be him. Maybe Andre Roberson comes back, but that's not much. Like, I'm trying to think about their star lineup, their rotation. OKC fans, I'm sorry that this happened because the timetable for y'all, like I wouldn't necessarily say that y'all really competing for a championship, but y'all were a very good team. Like, we saw that last year, especially with Paul George playing at MVP level. But if you get rid of that MVP player, you replace him with a player that's kind of like a borderline all-star. Gallinari numbers were very good last season, and he was the best player on the Clippers after Tobias Harris got traded and they made the playoffs. That team is probably still a playoff team, but as an OKC fan, I can say this. Like, for y'all OKC fans, you lost Paul George. Nothing you can do about that. Those 4 first-round picks could set you up for the future. You may not be able to win anything in the Russell Westbrook time frame, but if those four first-round picks you draft well, you set up for the future. That's my thing I can say to y'all. I mean, what else you want me to say? You just lost an MVP candidate, man. I am excited to see what happens next. Something tells me as soon as I turn off this camera, we're going to get something else. But Woj is on TV right now. So that got me feeling like it's all done. It's done. He's not even at the Twitter fingers. No, he's on TV right now explaining things. I love the NBA. I cannot wait till we get to the point where pretty much every free agent signed because I want to do like a power ranking video, but it's hard for me to rank the Lakers because the Lakers got 5 players on their team. Now, one of them is Jared Dudley, who I like, but, you know. So, another loser in this trade is like the Utah Jazz. They made like the perfect offseason, but now it just got so much more difficult for them to be a contender and be competitive out in that Western Conference. I'm going to have to take a trip to LA. You feel me? Like a Saturday, Sunday trip. Like the Clippers play on Saturday, then the Lakers play on Sunday, then boom, I just watched so much greatness and I fly home to Chicago. Yeah, that's how we're going to do things. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you are a Clippers fan or you are OKC fan, you're a Raptors fan, there's so many teams that are affected just by today, the last 3 minutes of Woj tweet. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. If I'm doing my initial grades, of course, it is A for the Clippers for signing Kawhi Leonard. A plus, actually. A plus for signing Kawhi Leonard. I would give it an A minus on the Paul George trade. 4 first-round picks unprotected is insane. OKC probably gets a B for me because, again, 4 first-round picks is insane. This is the perfect league, man, and I get to cover this for a job. I mean, there's no sleep. And you know what? Sleep is overrated. Thank y'all so much, man. This has been Kenny. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.